I say yes. You say...
Maybe.
Well, I guess that's the way it's going to go. Today we review Super 8, another bad movie.
I think it's super great.
I wrote my review on my phone. And I'll read off what I wrote during the movie and how I critiqued it during. So, here you go.
Hi, I'm TJ, and I'm going to read my review off the cell phone too. Oh wait, no, I don't need that. Because I'm smart enough to hold all my thoughts in my brain. I don't need some cell phone to tell me what to think.
So it started off at a kid's wake about zombies with everyone eating, then the dad cop being an overtly violent monster to express his anger at his wife's death. You know, abuses authorities as cops do, right? Yeah.
Does this movie have problems? Sure, of course it does. What movie doesn't? We don't expect greatness from the monster movie directed by J.J. Abrams. But is it anywhere near as bad as my friend Halcyon claims it is? No, absolutely not.
Then back to zombie talk with the kids like nothing ever happened. No one cares. I have to say the costume design so far as I was watching this was actually well done. Seems good, but it throws in songs in every scene and pushes this soundtrack. It was like a cliche film based on songs and historical moments to force you to think that it's the 70s. And I hate it when people try to force me to think a certain way in a movie, or in any time. In a movie, things should just happen naturally.
First of all, this movie has characters who are complex. They're not so complex that they blow your mind, but they're more complex than the average summer blockbuster. And one thing I really like about this movie is the pace of the dialogue, folks. I like the fact that characters talk over each other. Nowadays, it seems like whenever I attend a movie, the characters each wait their turn to talk, which is so unnatural. That's not how real conversations take place. Everyone is talking over each other, trying to be heard, trying to get their point across. Conversations are not linear. They're everyone just saying whatever's on their mind and hoping it's going to catch on, and, characters are distracted.
I also felt like the acting was a bit overdone and way too melodramatic. The film on the theater screen was way out of focus, and TJ said, well, maybe that was on purpose, to be arty, just kind of like, things that they've done, like, for effects. And, Spielberg is well known for this, for that awful film Schindler's List. Anyway, then the kids witness the most outrageous, ridiculous train wreck in film history. It pushes that military people are evil, and kids are good and innocent. Of course, you have this big contrast, this mean, overbearing collectivism of military versus the innocent children. Oh my God, those poor kids.
Every character has unique personality traits. You got the little fat kid who's basically a tyrant and kind of bullies everyone around with his over-the-top attitude. You got the protagonist who's sort of a submissive kid in the beginning, but then throughout the motion picture he learns to be more assertive, and he finds his voice, and he's able to stand on his own 2 feet. It's the classic coming-of-age story in that sense. You've got a great cast of supporting friends, including a little pyromaniac kid, and a little scaredy cat, and a nerd, and his little love interest.
Yeah, so this movie, like most of the summer movies, just loves pushing emotional appeals at us. It just loves forcing them down our fucking throat. It can't lay out a story to anyone to be caught by it. And that's what stories should do. We should be caught by them, not be forced to what to told and what to feel, and just be dictated to like we're a sitcom audience. But apparently that's what happens in movie theaters this summer. We're all supposed to laugh, we're all supposed to cry at the times they tell us to. Well, sorry, I'm not complying with this.
Characters in this movie have actual relationships, folks. It's not just the generic, I got a problem with my dad. There are actually substantive reasons that these characters feel this way. And you can actually feel the emotional tension and the conflict between the kids and their parents.
There is a Frankenstein feel to it. Again, it feels very contrived as if Spielberg and Abrams just sat around watching old movies and drinking wine. And they could think about like, hey, people would really dig this. It worked before and it'll work again. And I understand that. And that seems to be the motto here, is that it worked before and these fools will fall for it again. They'll be suckers over and over. So basically everyone is intelligent as George Bush.
There's a complex network here of interrelationships. It's not just a matter of this character is this stereotype and this character is this stereotype. Characters change in their behavior based on who they're around. And you don't really see that in movies anymore. You don't see that in big blockbusters anyway. In fact, if I had to peg the weakest element of this movie, it would actually be the sci-fi elements with the monster. I think this would have been a good coming-of-age story without any of that bullshit.
So, we hear this loud howling from something that sounds like a cross between the Hulk and a werewolf. I kept feeling like I was watching the Hulk or King Kong or something like that. Not anything in particular out one of those films or their countless remakes. Though this should be considered a remake of those films, like all these monster films. They just put something in one and try to repackage this shit. So may have something to keep the money flowing in.
Because if this movie has a weakness, it's a boring fucking monster with a boring fucking backstory that we've seen a million times before. What I like about this movie is the characters. I like the dynamic. I like the pace of the dialogue. Don't laugh.
And that the humans are bad to monsters and aliens or any other thing, and they're just bad. And especially the military. It only knows how to do one thing, like destroy shit, and it's just bad, and the government's bad, and these kids are good, and they understand. This one scientist, even though all the other scientists are playing with fire and want to help the military destroy everybody. Basically, he's like Pee Wee Herman in Pee Wee's Big Adventure. He's like, I say we let the monster go. Yeah, well, you know what? They didn't let the monster go. What do you think, you dumb fuck?
The way the characters relate in this movie, it's very reminiscent, and intentionally so, of films like The Goonies and Stand By Me. It tries to recapture some of that 70s and 80s kids' wonderment cinema. It doesn't succeed, but in trying, it still surpasses so many of today's modern blockbusters.
And besides, why else would if they let the monster go, you wouldn't have your stupid movie to put, would you? You couldn't tell an original story about an alien and humans dealing with it. We keep feeling in this movie like it's E.T., like it's Close Encounters of the Third Time with trains and stuff Spielberg. It's like they just talked about a bunch of crap and did it again and again and again. I generally am disgusted at this movie. TJ was already looking through the movie as I sat by him and was like, why are you disliking this movie? It's just so, you're just biased against it. Oh yeah, I'm really biased at the movie. I mean, if the movie was good, I would be caught by it. I'm not caught by it. I want to be taken. I wanted it to be good. But you know what? It wasn't. It's an unoriginal piece of shit.
Now, the film does, as I mentioned earlier, have some problems. They become very apparent the moment that the train crash takes place, and anyone who sees this movie is going to be just baffled and confused and sort of amused by how over the top this train crash is treated. And by the time it's done, the fact that none of the kids are dead is just mind-boggling.
What an unoriginal, worthless piece of shit. I wasn't amazed at anything in this movie. It was horseshit from beginning to end. I just had to sit there and endure it. And I was like, I would rather go back and watch the original King Kong, not any of the other remakes. Go watch a lot of these movies. I'll go watch E.T. I'd rather watch the one with guns rather than walkie-talkies. Another thing you see throughout this movie. I wonder who put that in. And it's like there's such an anti-gun feeling. It has a very political agenda in this movie as well, which I resent.
That was the moment when I realized I'm watching something that I can't really take too seriously on the level of a science fiction film. I thought that they were going to go for more of a realistic approach here to keep you from to keep your suspension of disbelief intact. They didn't really go that route. The sci-fi elements are very overblown, and it doesn't really jive with the tone of the movie, because it seems like when they were trying to recreate the town and the people and the characters, it was all very authentic, and then they shoehorn this sci-fi plot in there, and it doesn't really seem to fit. I don't know if science fiction fans, people who are really going for the monster, are going to enjoy this movie. I think some of them will. They'll be charmed by the characters and by the dialogue and by the humor and by the irreverence and charm. But no one, I don't think that if I'd gone to this movie specifically to see the monster, I'd have been very happy with it. I don't think that if you're going to see this movie because you want to be scared, you're not really gonna find much to be scared of.
Again, it's like Spielberg said about Amistad. It didn't matter that the character they're portraying in Amistad, after the movie went and sold slaves. It's like Spielberg said, history is what we tell you it is. And it's like, whatever filming, we're going to do anything we want. J.J. Abrams and him, it doesn't matter how illogical, you'll just do it. And Transformers and Pirates of the Caribbean, these movies evoke that we can put whatever garbage we want and you still will be dumb enough to watch it and buy it and see it again and again. It doesn't matter. It's like the whole thing I've said before. You can keep eating a Burger King burger and you will throw up because it's so disgusting, okay? And you will go right back and eat it, okay? So really, if you like this movie, enjoy your burger and keep vomiting, and after you get out of the bathroom, go right back to eating it. So that's all I have to say. You can do better.
But yeah, I think this is a movie with strong characters, good pacing, a lot of good humor, and it does capture a spark of the films it emulates, although not really comparable to something like Stand By Me. But it comes close enough to be pretty entertaining. I would say solid 7, maybe 8.
So, obviously, TJ seems to be very biased in film today, I think. He's seen so many bad movies that now he's just reaching and he's looking at anything to pull out something because he's so full of hope. And I think hope is the last act of a desperate, delusional person. They're reaching for something that isn't there. They're not dealing with reality as is. And
you're just too cynical. The moment this movie started, the very fucking second, like the first frame,
I know.
Like, oh, this is nonsense.
Yeah,
this is garbage.
Okay, wait. I have a defense. I just sat through previews. I've been going to all these movies. TG's been sitting at home. I have trauma too, and I deal with it a lot better from watching these god-awful movies than he does. He's just like, no, it's going to be okay. The thing is, in this movie, it's like with this scientist guy who I joked about is like, I say we let the monster go. He is the guy now saying, I say we let the movie be. It's okay. I don't care how monstrous it is and it eats people. It's going to be all right. No, it's not. It's still, as you just illustrated with everything you said, it's like, well, it was almost a good movie, and since it's almost a good movie in 2011, then I might as well give it a 7 or an 8, because when did you become such a low standard motherfucker?
I didn't say...
Yeah, you did.
No,
you were a
I didn't say it was almost good. I said it was almost as good as The Goonies or the fucking...
Excuse me for having better expectations than you.
Stand By Me. There. It's almost as good as The Goonies or Stand By Me. It almost captures that. I'm just saying it's going for that.
No, it doesn't.
It tries for that. It almost gets there. It gets about 80 to 90% of the way there.
It doesn't. No, it doesn't come close.
You can't recapture an era, but it does its best and it comes close. It comes close enough to be good.
Okay. It captures some of the magic of the remake of King Kong and the remakes of Frankenstein. Yeah, I agree with you, because those movies suck.
I didn't even say anything about those movies.
Well, you did get into about recapturing some of these movies, and it does. You just conceded.
No.
Yes, you did.
No, I said.
Furthermore, you talk about this stuff about, you say this whole thing about, these characters, and there was, character development and everything. You think there's character development in Super 8 because this bad actress, this blonde girl.
She was not a bad actress. She was pretty good.
She was not any good. The characters around them were, these actors were a bit better than her.
I don't think so.
They tried to make it like she was some kind of impressive actress within the movie. However, I thought she sucked. And if anything, the characters around her who were looking at like it, she sucked. Maybe they were being real because she really, they were good actors because they could see, wow, this girl sucks. And if we just look like it's just like we're amazed, we would be good actors. And maybe that is a plus of the movie. However,
I think she was good at it. No, she delivered that line. You could see the real emotion. You could see the authenticity of the emotion in her face. She was doing a good job.
No,
she
wait,
did a great
wait.
job in that movie.
You just want to have sex with children. That's
okay. No, she was good. She knew what she was doing. And maybe she's not like, maybe if she was an adult actress and she delivered that same performance, I would agree. But no, she's a child actress. Most child actors
and you want to have sex with her.
No, most child actors are garbage. They're fucking garbage. They're atrocious. They deliver their lines like, I want to go to the store. No, she was delivering a subtle, nuanced performance. Is it going to win her a fucking Oscar? No.
I know.
Is she like the next fucking, whatever, Dakota Fanning?
Right.
No. But she delivered her lines. She did it well.
Yeah.
She did it convincingly. I bought it. I didn't have any problem with her performance whatsoever. I think she was
of course you bought it. You're a low expectations motherfucker.
I'm not low.
Anyway, you also talk about this character development in the film like there was actually something there. Well, what is it with character? It's like character development is like freedom of speech. And I thought about this. If freedom of speech is to be respected, then anyone who values it must value the speech of someone you hate. So, a contrary opinion, you must respect that. Mm-hmm. And you also must in character development in a movie, the bad guy, like in Avatar or whatever, that character has to develop too, which it doesn't in Avatar, and it doesn't here. If anything, the characters are worse and more. It's like they're just cardboard cutouts in this film. It's just awful. Tell me one military guy that develops. I mean, they're like, you got a necklace, and it's like the one thing in the movie that like everyone knows you care about it because it was your dead mom's. I'm gonna grab it from you. And I'm like, I know that like the monster is gonna kill him for it. It's gonna kill him. Like the next guy is gonna die. And of course, he is. It's everything. TJ's brother Scotty saw it with us, okay? And his friend Matt. And they were like predictable, contrived bullshit. I mean, it's like TJ he's seen so many bad films. This poor guy, okay? He's hurting, folks. Like,
okay,
please, don't, like, wait a minute. Don't let him, please.
It's the crux of the matter is character
He's not doing
development.
well.
This is the issue. Look, okay, the military guys, sure, they're underdeveloped, but the core cast of the good guys and the mediocre guys, the in-between guys.
Black and white.
They're not black and white characters.
Yeah, no, the plot. These are the good guys. These are the bad guys. These people are all evil. These people are all
would
good.
anyone,
poor innocent children.
Would anyone accept
children.
the government? Would anyone accept the government figures if they were really anything but completely evil? If you fucking present like government figures who are reasonable, people are just going to call bullshit.
Yeah,
people will buy anything before the fucking good government. But look, listen. The core characters, the circle of friends.
Concede that was pathetic.
The circle of friends.
This is not an 8. This is a bomb.
The circle of friends and their families, they all have complex relationships. It's not a matter of, you got the little fat kid who's totally dominating the main protagonist at the beginning of the movie, and he learns to stand up to him. He learns to stand up to his father.
May I answer? Sure. Okay. So TJ's saying you could take all the awful stuff out of this movie with its, he concedes already that they portrayed all these characters as being good to play the emotional appeals with the poor children, even though they didn't even kill one of them, okay? Which in any kind of saga or story, there's some tragedy like that. And they did have an actual tragedy. The mother died, and these big metal things threw at her, and she died mysteriously, and none makes sense. And that's how the movie starts off. You're wondering, what happened to the mother? What is the mystery? Wait a minute. What happened to the mystery of the mother? And you know what? We never find out. We never find out. It's like, well, she's just dead. Like, she's just dead. Like, there were these big metal beams that were lifted and thrown or something, and then they killed her and smashed her into pieces. And, of course, this one necklace survived 100% fine. But, anyway, she's dead, and they're wondering. And then there's this thing that's throwing things around. And then the kid who, it could have been, this thing killed his mom or something. Maybe. You don't know. You're trying to reach for that, but he's cool with the thing. He's like, I like you, just don't eat me and my girlfriend.
I don't think there was any implication that he killed his mom.
Yeah, but at least there would have been something to put a story. But this doesn't have story because they just rip off everything. It's silly, it's retarded, has no redeeming value whatsoever. And you want to say that this movie has some kind of, it could have been a movie without aliens. It could have been about kids. It's just contrived. Still, it's predictable and everything they do. I mean, you have been so brutalized by watching bad films that at this point you're like, I'll take anything. Just get kids to hold their hands and hug each other. It'll be anything. I need, human touching. Oh, my God. Oh, please just hold me. I have no love in my heart. Come on, folks. Go rent old movies. Do something. Hold hands with someone. You can do better than reaching for this shit. This is garbage. God, low expectations.
Okay, art is supposed to be an emotional catharsis. I mean, how do you mock art for trying to elicit emotion in the audience? That is its purpose. That is one of its core purposes. We're supposed to feel something for these characters. It's supposed to manipulate us. It's supposed to make us feel something. And it succeeds in that. It's not the totally contrived, it's going to use a generic tearjerker formula. Okay, a lot about this movie is formulaic. I would say the whole sci-fi story is crap. It's garbage. I would have tossed that out entirely. Or at least, put it through a few more rewrites. But the interpersonal relationships in this movie are genuine. They feel real to me. I feel like these characters are real people. I'm not reaching. The only I'm reaching for is your neck so I can strangle you. The characters feel real to me. They feel authentic.
You laughed at times in that movie theater, Adam.
I laughed at the jokes.
No.
You don't perceive the jokes because of your weird Galen Asperger shit. You only fucking perceive one joke in the entire.
Now he has to reach for personal character attacks, even though I don't have any of that. I'm perfectly fine. Neurologically been tested. I did this personally, but I just want to say he has to reach for character assassination to actually try to fight me in a arena because he doesn't have an argument.
We have to explain this. No,
it's sad.
It's the same thing he's doing. He's trying to explain my liking this movie by we lower standards.
Yeah, but you know why? You know why? Because he told me so before the movie.
I did not say that.
Yes, he did.
I jokingly agreed with you when you brought it up.
You said this every week. It's like Pirates of the Caribbean was so bad. It's like I saw Kung Fu Panda and I know it was bigoted and racist and everything, but it was still better than Pirates of the Caribbean.
Well,
Transformers 2.
Of course it was.
You see, you're still thinking about that movie.
Pirates was terrible, but that has nothing to do with this movie. I'm over Pirates. I'm over
no,
the trauma is
No,
gone.
it's not. He was just telling me that he's like, I know Transformers 3 is going to be terrible. He's trying to hold on to something to have the strength to see that movie.
I am looking forward to hating Transformers 3. But no. The crux of this argument is character development. And I don't think you've demonstrated that
character development. Show me the character development of any of them. You're just you're reaching.
Okay, well what give me a fucking reason why the protagonist isn't developed, or why his father isn't developed, or why his girlfriend isn't developed.
I'll give you an argument.
Why his girlfriend isn't developed. Or why the fucking girlfriend
I'll explain because they suck you in with here's the thing, first of all, it's all predictable. Okay, it's all predictable. All the little stories and the little emotional appeals they do to you. And I like being caught by something. And I wasn't caught. You're reaching saying at least they did a little here or there in these little segments. It doesn't coexist as a film. It doesn't come together. It doesn't have something that's very beautiful that it can touch you with the mystery of human existence. I don't see that in this movie in any way. I agree that it's better than Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, then again, a pile of dog shit.
That's a pretty low standard, though.
Yeah, then again, you're a low standards motherfucker, and you're at this point, which is exactly my point. Thank you for agreeing.
Here you go. No, one thing, just one request. Tell me how any of the main cast were not developed. Just
I'll go into it.
Point to a character. Tell me,
the military guy was he was throughout the entire movie. Here's a guy who was part of it through the movie, and it wanted you to agree, saying this guy's bad and he needs to die, and everyone wants him to die. And again, like I already read to you about that and said, it's what if you don't like a bad guy, he should be developed too. I mean, they're a part of a whole movie. What do you want to just cherry pick shit, TJ? You can't just cherry pick a fucking review and say, these parts are good and these parts aren't, and I'm not going to consider that and the movie's good. I rate it an 8. So the other half of the movie, which you already considered with the space, would take it off, so at least it's a 4, and then the bad guys in the military, so we'll take it down to a 2. I guess we can concede there with your fucking half-assed cherry picking.
We all understand that a movie is not the sum of its fucking parts. You have to take in the experience as a whole.
Character development. I'll say character development. Character development.
I'm willing to admit to the weaknesses. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Sure. The villain's a little bit generic. Fine. I admit that.
A little.
Yeah, he was generic. He's generic. He's fucking generic.
He was more. The guy in Avatar had more character.
Okay. Sure. Fine. The military guy sucked. He wasn't a good villain. But
he had nothing. He never did. Nobody else did. And they just wanted to give you an emotional appeal to say these poor children could be hurt by big, evil military collectivist or something going on there. And it's like, wait a minute. That's the only reason they tried to develop
I don't view him as
emotional scenes with these characters to say, I like it. And you might could say they wrote a few scenes that could have gone into a play or something for a film between kids. And TJ's like, oh, that touched my heart. And I'm just saying, it didn't. Here's the thing, and I mean this. Regardless of all the special effects, I saw that if you separate that too, it still didn't touch my heart. It didn't get me. I wasn't impressed. And maybe some people out there, but to reach for like 1 point out of a whole fucking movie to say these little characters farted or joked and one is like shooting firecrackers, it's not enough for me. I didn't like the movie. I think it's bad. I think it sucks. I recommend people do not go watch this. You can do other movies. You can create your own videos. Do anything. Just don't go read a book. Anything. Just don't watch TJ's videos. Watch mine. Watch anybody. I don't give a shit. Just don't go see this fucking movie.
Okay. I feel as if the emotional authenticity of the characters can outweigh the mediocrity of the sci-fi plot and some generic villains. Okay, the movie has faults. None of them are fatal faults. I feel like there is an emotional authenticity to this movie, and I feel like it's worth seeing. I feel like it's worth experiencing. So I recommend that people go see the movie. But you could watch me and his videos too.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably do a short review on my own channel on this, just completely dogging it.